Hi everyone! Welcome to the ServicePRO Service Request Management webinar. Proper service request management ensures that all user-initiated requests are handled promptly in an organized and effective manner. This webinar will illustrate a workflow of some of the key components in ServicePRO that can help you to handle the requests in your help desk most efficiently. In more detail, we will be exploring customized forms and service requests, the auto routing of service requests, an automated approval workflow using business rules, service request reporting, SLA monitoring, as well as user survey reporting. So let's get started. We will start off by looking at service request management through the end user's perspective in the SelfService Portal. As you can see, the login page provides a unique and customized experience for each organization as well as its users. The page can be personalized through adding the organization's logo, relevant images, as well as company information here at the bottom. The right pane illustrates the login widget through which new users can sign up from this link down here, and existing users can sign in using either their Active Directory credentials or ServicePRO credentials. We will be logging in as user Bob Stevens. The general layout of the page is highly user-friendly and easy to follow along with. On the left pane, we have the various options that are available to Bob, including the home page, a history of all logged requests, a communication platform, as well as the knowledge-based articles. A little bit to the right, we can take a look at all of the open requests grouped by urgency, as well as an opportunity for Bob to log an entirely new request on the top right-hand side of the page. We have a variety of different widgets set up that enhance the overall end user experience. The Recent Updates widget displays any recent activity taken on a request, such as emails from the support rep, as well as any status changes. The Service Request Catalog widget illustrates a list of all services that are provided by the help desk to the end users. And each of these forms have different properties associated to them through ServicePRO's highly useful automation features. Bob will be logging an equipment request from the service catalog. He has now been redirected to a form where he can fill out all of the necessary information pertaining to this request. In this case, let's just assume that Bob needs a new laptop. He can start by entering a descriptive title and can then go on to choose the urgency of the request. This is Bob's assessment of the importance of his request, and we'll just keep it as medium, which is the default option. Below, he can include any attachments that may be relevant, including documents and images from his current device. The additional information section mirrors the customized form that was created in the ServicePRO Custom Form Designer. Bob is now prompted to answer specific questions relating to the request in the hopes of capturing as much relevant information as possible. As you can see, upon clicking the department field, a list of choices appear in the drop-down. Since Bob is an employee of the Human Resources Department, I've gone ahead and selected that option. Within the next field, Bob is prompted to choose his specific position. We are now seeing customized forms in action. For a little more context, I'll go back to the first field and perhaps select a different department. We can now observe how the choices in the positions drop-down change depending on what was selected in the previous field. ServicePRO allows users to build these highly customizable forms. These features really help to strengthen the layout and organization of the information that's displayed to the end user. They also help to collect as much valuable information as possible with the hopes of decreasing any unnecessary follow-up communication between the support rep and the end user. I can now go back and reselect his appropriate department and position. We can also now go on to find Bob's manager's name, Peter Adams. He will be required to provide his approval on the request once Bob submits his ticket. We can also select the type of equipment that Bob needs. As previously stated, he needs a laptop, so we can just go ahead and select that option. Now, we can quickly realize that an entirely new drop-down appears below, which provides Bob with a list of laptop types that he can choose from. All equipment types have been designed with different dependencies associated to them. For an example, if Bob goes back and requests a cell phone, another dropdown appears instead with a distinct set of choices: iPhone, Samsung, and BlackBerry. I can now go back and choose the options that reflect Bob's initial requirements. Let's just assume that Bob needs his new laptop 1 week from now. The approval status cannot be changed by Bob and will eventually reflect his manager's response to the request. Before submitting the ticket, Bob can enter a short memo for any further information. The request has now been logged, and the service request ID shows up at the top of the page. As we can see, the Recent Updates widget is also updated to reflect this new activity. We can now go ahead and log out of the End User Portal. As a result of the specific business rules and automations that have been set up in the system, Peter Adams, Bob's manager, has received a new email within his inbox regarding the equipment request. The email informs Peter of the requester as well as the type of equipment needed. We are now seeing the automated approval workflow in action, and Peter can respond to this email by either typing approved or declined as stated in the email. The rules will pick up on these words to perform two actions. The first one being that the response in the approval status field within the form will change from pending to reflect Peter's response. Another email will also be sent out to Bob informing him of the update and whether or not his request for a laptop has been approved. Now let's respond to take a look at both of these in real time. Again, due to the business rules, Bob has just been notified through email informing him that the request has been approved by Peter. As we have just seen, building automations can be highly useful for managing a wide range of requests in ServicePRO. And now that the equipment has been approved and both users have been emailed, we will be logging back into ServicePRO as a support rep to review and close the request. We are currently on the home page and logged in as user Danny Ocean. We can start by looking at the preview widget of Danny's workspace. This allows Danny to see at any given time all of the requests that have been assigned to him. Here you can see a list of requests along with the columns of further details, such as the time that the request was logged, its priority in the system, and even the requester. Messages allow Danny to view his internal communication with other support reps when collaborating on tickets, as well as any communication with end users. The email widget allows Danny to review and respond to all of his emails with just one click. Let's say he's using Outlook or Gmail, all of his information can be imported from these systems into ServicePRO. At the bottom half of the page, we can see more data-driven information. Through a custom report, Danny can view all of the open requests in the system grouped by priority level. The next widget displays specific information pertaining to only equipment requests within the system. As we can see, they are grouped by their different approval statuses: approved, pending, and declined. What's great about these charts is that the information will automatically be updated to reflect any changes within the system. The last chart displays a bar graph demonstrating the average time that it takes for various support reps to close their assigned tickets, with both agent name and handle time being illustrated. We can now go into My Workspace to find the requests that Bob logged earlier. On the left pane, we can see all of the queues that Danny has access to, and these can be broken down by a wide range of criteria. Bob's request did not show up in dispatch and is instead immediately auto-routed to its specific queue folder due to the business rules that have been configured. Since we chose an equipment request, Bob's request will be routed to the equipment setup queue located right under the asset management folder. We can now select the request to view more information on the activity stream, request properties, and the custom form. Since this is a preset template, we can see that the equipment setup queue, equipment request form type, and the hardware request category are all predetermined and do not need to be manually assigned. Danny can also assign a priority to the request ranging from low to critical, which is now his interpretation of the request's importance. In the activity stream, we can view the initial email informing Peter of the equipment request, as well as his response of approval. If we scroll up just a little, we can also see that the activity stream was updated to reflect the business rule notifying Bob that his request has been approved. The Request Properties tab shows general details such as reference number, title, status, and wait state of the request. We can also view Bob's responses to the form that he filled out within the SelfService Portal in the Custom Fields tab. When looking at the last field, it is now apparent that the approval status has changed from pending to approved. This is because the business rules were able to pick up on Peter's response and update that within the form. In the SLA Monitoring tab, the checkboxes are controlled by two business rules that are frequently monitoring the system. The response SLA is monitoring the time that it takes for each request to be assigned to a rep. The time criteria is based on priority level, and we have set a limit of 1 hour for critical and high requests and 3 hours for medium and low requests. The resolution SLA is monitoring when the request is closed. We have set up a limit of 3 hours for critical and high priority and 8 hours for medium and low priority requests. I will now show you a simple report that illustrates the SLA monitoring results for equipment requests. We can start off by seeing that the report is grouped by priority level. Both response and resolution SLA show the percentage of requests out of the total that have been breached. The results can also be very clearly distinguished, as anything over 50% is highlighted in red. Through this report, it becomes very clear that the help desk needs to more carefully monitor the equipment requests that are coming into the system, as well as their respectable service level agreements. We can also view the grand totals for both response and resolution breaches at the bottom of the page. We can now go back into the system and close Bob's equipment request since we have received approval and reviewed all of the relevant information. Upon closing the request, we can see that a survey link has been sent out on Bob's email in order to receive input on his overall experience. He now has the opportunity to provide customer service feedback, as well as rate the quality and timeliness of the service provided to him. We can now go back into the system to take a look at the user survey report. This report is grouped by who has closed the request. It illustrates a summary of the average satisfaction and timeliness rates, as well as the total number of requests for each support rep. On the very last page, the grand total for both satisfaction and timely response rates is displayed. Let's now take a look at another report that illustrates all equipment requests that have been logged within the system. We can see that all requests have been grouped by their equipment types, including cell phone, desk phone, desktop, laptop, and monitor. We have also included relevant fields for each request, such as the date that the request was logged and closed, current status, requester, and approval status. We have added 2 custom fields from our equipment request form. The first one being the type of equipment, which we have used to group the entire report, and the second one being the approval status, which we have added as a general field for each request in the body. For each group, we can view the total number of requests at the bottom, and we can also view the grand total of all requests on the very last page of the report. A really useful feature is that the report will update automatically moving forward to reflect any new requests that are logged using the equipment request form type. Reporting is a very useful tool that allows you to filter out and absorb valuable information about the activity that's taking place on requests, as well as users within the system. This concludes our webinar on service request management. Thank you for attending. As a quick recap, we went over the end user experience in the self-service portal, a brief overview of the support rep homepage design, custom forms and service requests, an automated approval workflow, the end user survey, SLA monitoring, and lastly, custom reports for survey responses as well as survey requests within the system.